Promises are just words until you have actions to back them up. We have a rule in our house, and granted the rule only applies to the parents at the moment, but the rule is that there are no empty promises. If we make a promise to our kids, we must fulfill it. There is no empty words. Too many times I see, well, just for yourself, for life, for people, but especially parents, and I don't say this with judgment, I just say this as a fact because I also know how hard it is as a parent sometimes. But it is the thing of, if you say something, it must get done. There are no empty promises. There are no say it to placate and then don't mean it. And especially because, well, fucking children have the most immense memory. And if you break that promise, they'll remember it at the most inopportune time to rub that in your face. But beyond that, it becomes a thing about teaching them that myself, my wife, we are people of our words. That if we say it, it is getting done. End of story. And it also teaches that narrative to them as well. That if someone says something, they mean it and it's getting done. That's a really, really important thing to ingrain into your children. But I often talk about it just for yourself. We've spoken about it many times on here. That you're a motherfucking liar. And I can say that with full confidence, with full force, because I've been you. I've been that guy. I've been in that spot where my word was dog shit. My word meant nothing. Like, it meant absolutely nothing. Because, well, I didn't keep it. And I've told this story before and it still fucking hurts. That one of the moments that really hurt and kicked me up the arse and was the gut punch to make a better change and make a better commitment to it all was when my wife asked me to do something and I was like, yep, I'll get to it in a minute. And she's like, oh, don't worry then, I'll do it myself. And I was like, no, I said I'd do it. And she's like, yeah, you say a lot of things. And this wasn't meant as a hurtful thing. It wasn't meant to wound me or anything like that. It was meant as, well, it was an honest statement of, she was like, oh, just a resignation of, well, I better just do it myself to ensure it actually gets done. I don't know about you, but when the love of your life is like, I can't fucking trust your word to get this shit done, it hurts. It's upsetting. It's deeply, deeply fucking upsetting. And I was like, right. So this is the point that I've gotten to. And the problem is when your promises are empty, when your promises don't mean shit anymore, when you throw around words and they're always hollow. And even if this is just to yourself, even if it's just to yourself, it takes a really, really long time to build up the credibility. And it's the same with everything in life. The negatives taint much harsher than the positives ever will. The negatives are going to hurt. The negatives are going to stick around. The negatives are going to continue to play, well, on your mind, on other people's minds, for a lot longer than the positives ever will. It's like, if you have a negative experience, generally you'll tell everyone who will listen. If you have a positive experience, you'll talk about it if it comes up. This is the difference. And it's the same with yourself. If you have a positive experience and you keep your word to yourself, well, it's kind of a bit like, well, as it should be. You're like, there's no reward, there's no praise, it's just kind of, well, that's how it should be. You said you'd do it, therefore you did it. Well, cool. You just fulfilled your bargain. You just fulfilled your end of the contract. Like, that's all. It's nothing special. But if you don't do that, and then if you don't do that for an extended period of time, well, now that's a real fucking problem. Now you're a goddamn liar. Now that you've been branded with that. That's why accusations are always really hard, because once you've been branded, well, you're branded for life. It's like Johnny's a fucking goat fucker. Even though, you know, that could be the furthest thing from the truth. Everybody heard, now that it's been said and it's been spread around, everybody's heard that Johnny's a goat fucker. Now he's known as Johnny the Goat Fucker. Because that accusation has been thrown around, and negatives often stick. Negatives often hang around for a lot longer than, as I said, positives. And it's a harsh cycle, but it's why it becomes so imperative that you become a man of your word. And when you slip, it hurts, and you need to own when it hurts. You need to own when you're not living up to it. And it's not easy when you can't fulfill those things. When you make a promise and you feel that you can't fulfill it. So you need to make sure that you do the work. That if you say something's going to get done, you do what is required to get it done. And if you drop the ball on that, you then need to work harder again. You need to go double down and double down and double down on that, so that it doesn't happen again. And it's a really, really harsh one to overcome, because it's going to take years, most likely. You know, it's the same as I talk about when it comes to, you know, weight loss and fat loss and changing your physique and all that kind of stuff. People are like, oh, well, I want to do like a 90-day program, then I want to return to what I'm doing. Cool, got it, understand it. I accept where you're coming from, I understand your premise, but how long did it take you to get to this point? A year? 2 years? 10 years? 5 years? A lifetime? You didn't just wake up one day and be like, shit, I'm fucking overweight. Shit, I have man tits. Shit, I can't, walk up and down stairs without being winded. Shit, I can't get down on the floor to play with my children. Shit, I'm a fat, lazy fuck. That didn't happen one day. That was a gradual fucking process over time. And to reverse that permanently, which is the word that I really emphasize on that, to make it a long-term, sustainable, actual results change, well, that's not going to get done in 90 days. Sure, on a physique level, we could deliver your results in 90 days or 126 days, or sometimes even less. As you know, my client who dropped 20 kilos, 45 pounds for my American friends, in 6 weeks. Most people who go through Chasing Greatness Daily and do the initial 6 weeks will lose anywhere between 8 kilos and 15 kilos in 6 weeks. Yeah, we can deliver great fucking results, but that's actually the easy part, and this is the part a lot of people struggle with. Changing that initial thing, if done correctly, if executed the right way, is the easy part. You know what's the hard part? Maintaining that. You know what's difficult? Being consistent. You know what really sucks? Changing those habits to make that a lifetime thing, so that we don't have to keep doing 90-day sprints or 6-week sprints or whatever the fuck it is to get results. It just is who you are. You are a strong, fit, healthy man. End of story. That's where we want to get you. That's where we're trying to get to with all this stuff. And that's the separator. That you have to keep choosing the positives. You have to keep doing the work in that way. Because the tree falls the way it leans. So you have to put in probably 10 times, if not 100 times, the amount of positives in that direction to counterbalance the negatives that are there. You have to keep showing up that way to make it a reality. And this is the part that, well, most people don't want to deal with. Most people don't want to face that. And I get that. I really do get that. Because it's awkward, because it's hard, because it's hard to not have slip-ups. It's not have step-backs. Even myself. This is one of the things that started this whole journey, was I wanted to be a man of my word. And I'm still fallible. I still haven't reached that point. I still haven't reached a point where I'm like, yeah, I'm fucking happy and proud of that. I haven't gotten there yet. But I need to. I need to keep chipping away at it. More often than not, I am a man who keeps his word, and on the things that I think are really important, I am following through on those things. But I still have mistakes. I still have moments where, well, sometimes my ego wrote a check that I couldn't keep. And that's part of it as well. That you got to catch those moments where you might be saying things and giving your word on things that you aren't capable of following through on. Or you drop the ball on it. And you need to own that as well. Because, well, promises are just words until the actions back them up. And not just the actions, but the results of the actions back them up. So you need to keep doing the work. You need to keep showing up. You need to keep being that guy. And no, it is not going to be easy. No, it is not going to be a cakewalk. It is going to be something that you are going to have to keep choosing over and over and over again. For, well, shit, forever. But you're trying to be the greatest version of yourself. Surely we can start at the beginnings. Surely we can start with the basics. Surely we can start with just being true, being honest, being a man of your word, and not breaking your promises. That if you state something, you're going to follow through. And I think and I know this is where I get caught, and where I'm used to always get caught, and still to this day, is sometimes I firmly believe that I can do that. I wholeheartedly, with every part of me, believe that if I'm saying yes to that I can get it done. And so part of also growing up and becoming that man of your word is learning to check your ego. And I think this part, more than any other, is the part that I am still learning. This is the part that I am still developing, is the ability to check my ego on that. Because there are lots of things that I believe that I can do, or will have time to do, or can show up and make happen. And then life happens. And I don't follow through. And this is, as I said, this is the part that I struggle with a lot, because in some areas I've managed to make that and become a full part of that zero choice mentality that we talk about. I've been able to just, this is what's happening. End of story. You know, my walks, my workouts, my daily photos, my water, my nutrition, all of that kind of stuff. It's a zero choice mentality. It's fucking happening. Period. End of story. No questions asked. That shit is getting done. But on the other areas where I'm banking on some things that are outside of my control, and I'm making promises on things that I cannot control, or on things that are still predicated on other people, those are the ones where you need to, well, take a step back, analyze it, and make sure that you aren't delivering hollow words. That you aren't saying things that, well, you have no right or no way of knowing that you can follow through on. And that also is hard, because that is that, well, that gut check, that ego check, that, hey, I'd like to say that, yes, I can get that done. Yes, I can make that happen. But there are factors that are outside of my control. So don't make promises that you can't keep. The one that my children like to remind me on, and you know, they're not wrong, and I had to learn that I can't make those promises, is, oh, give me that toy, I'll fix it. Give me that, bit of equipment, I'll fix it. I seriously lack practical skills in that capacity. So no, there is a high probability that I am not fixing said toy or equipment or whatever it is. It's not really within my scope. So I need to stop making promises to do that. And again, these are some of those wake-up calls that come through to you about what your word means. Because my father-in-law is an incredibly practical man. That man, as we call it, MacGyver's shit out of nowhere. So my kids have already learnt that. That they're like, no, we'll take it to Pa. Pa will fix it for us. Cool, got it. And so I need to be aware of where my limitations are. I need to be aware of when I can't follow through on those things, so that I don't let down my kids, so that I don't let people down, so that it is, when I give my word, when I say something will get done, that it's an honest and truthful statement. That I'm not bullshitting, that I'm not talking out of my ass, that I can actually do it. And that becomes a really powerful thing. And I think you'll see a drastic shift in, well, all areas of your life when people start to know that you're a man of your word. When you're a man who has a zero-choice mentality, that if it's been said, if it has been agreed on, it is getting done. That changes how people show up for you. That changes how people respond to you. And I think you start at the beginning. You start at the beginning with your health and fitness, that it's a zero-choice mentality. Then you begin with your workouts. You begin with your nutrition. You begin with, well, chasing greatness. And that you are going to follow through. And then you pick the next thing, and the next thing, and the next thing, and you build out this skill. As I said, it takes way fucking longer than you'd care to admit. But I am so much further along those lines than I was when I first started. Because I kept developing the skill in different areas. I kept reiterating that skill to myself so that I had that capacity, so that I could be that man, that I had evidence in other areas that I can keep my word and that I am a man of my word. So I kept showing up that way. And that's how you build that skill. That's how you build that accountability. That's how you build that credibility. And that credibility has got to start with you before you can get to other people. Before it can progress to other people, you have to start with the credibility of yourself, that you can actually get this done. That if you say it, it is happening. As I said, I think the first place it starts is with your health and fitness. If you start there, if you start to build your physique because it screams that you are a man of your word, you're a man who has follow through, discipline, grit, and determination, you start there, well, things start to get better from there. So if you're ready to do that, if you're ready to begin that journey, shoot me a message. Let's get you into Chasing Greatness Daily. Let's start that journey for you. Now, as always, if you're not quite there yet, click the link in my bio, grab my top 10 tools to transform your mental toughness. And lastly, if this spoke to you, if you enjoyed it, if you know someone else who needs to hear this, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. But most importantly, hit that subscribe button, because it lets me know, it lets you know, it lets the universe know that you're a man who's serious about this. You're a man who's serious about keeping his word. And you can start by watching this every single day, because like Chasing Greatness Daily, I am here every single day, rain, hail, or shine, no matter what. So if you're ready for that, hit subscribe, because I'll be back again tomorrow. Until then.